It's September 10th, 2025. Minutes ago, Charlie Kirk succumbed to an assassination that happened in Utah at a school that he was speaking at for his TPU event. Obviously, most important to say, this is bad. Anybody celebrating this right now, condoning it, reveling in it, saying he deserved it, you are part of the problem. They can no longer be part of the left. There is no hope of redemption for this country if we do not stop the radicalization. At first, this man was arrested and reported as being the suspect. In it, he is heard saying, I'll show you. In the video, you can hear him saying, I have the right to remain silent. For a while, it was reported upon that the suspect was in custody and this video had come out, so everyone presumed that this was the man who did the shooting. It has since then been confirmed that the suspect is not in custody. This man in the video is not the suspect. Can't say that enough. So when you see this man being cited, that is why, is because he was originally suspected as being the suspect. When the confirmed sources said that there was a suspect in hand, there is no suspect in hand. We don't know where the suspect is at the time. We do not know who committed the shooting. People saying, this is awesome, Charlie got what he deserved, he was a genocide supporter, are the exact same level of violence inciters as people now saying that this is war. All of this needs to be condemned. All of this only fans the flame of greater hatred and greater violence. It has to stop. Charlie Kirk, for everything that I disagreed with him about, which was almost everything, was exercising his free speech. I participated in events in free speech against him, talking about, dialoguing with, and engaging with supporters and conservatives because dialogue has to be the way forward. Initially, he was reported as being stable by friends and family. However, those close to him, unconfirmed sources, began posting that he had passed away. At 4:40 p.m. today, September 10th, Trump reported that he had passed away. Minutes later, both CNN and CBS verified this confirmation, that he has passed away. Look at the reaction on the right already. Begging for fascism. Begging for fascism. Begging that we go to war. As somebody on the left, I am happy to vehemently denounce this. The moment that I found out about this event, strong condemnation for the shooter, strong support for Charlie, strong wishes that he survives, and insisting that he was utilizing his free speech as much as I disagree with this free speech. If you are on the right and you are inciting war, you are suggesting further lockdowns, further punishing of opposing views, you are the same as the people celebrating Charlie Kirk. You are all inciting hatred and promoting violence in this country. It has to stop. Every one of you fools think that the paradigm of good times make for weak men make for bad times, which we are in, and that bad times make for strong men. Strong men aren't violent, they're principled. Now, more than ever, the principled position is to stand by what Charlie Kirk believed in. Free speech. All TPU was about free speech. That's the point of these things. And it was effective. The reason the left didn't like him, his opinions aside, and worried about him is because he was so effective at using free speech to convince young voters to the right. He didn't do it through violence. He did it through free speech. Now, you might argue he did it also through misinfo. And free speech can include that. And yes, there are issues with free speech that we still have to wrestle through. But if you think that violence is the appropriate answer, you are delusional. You have no idea what you're talking about, or you are so full of rage and hatred that you're better off going out to the farm, petting some animals, and getting therapy. Get off the internet. I knew people that were on the ground. I knew people that were right front stage. The moment it happened, I got a text saying, I just saw Charlie Kirk shot in the neck. Now, I will say I cannot show you guys the video, but it was an arterial bleed. Most people who've seen the video, the graphic video of him being shot, did not believe that he would make it. Now, it's possible, obviously, with combat medics and quick response that some people do survive arterial bleeds. He didn't. And what every single pundit is going to do is try to demand for radicalism. And I want to be really clear, for every group blaming only one side, you are part of the problem. Political division, first of all, is massively being seeded by non-humans, by bots, because democracy dies in the face of misinformation and disinformation, which is a huge problem that has disproportionately affected the right. And the problem with the left is there has been no willing to bridge, to soften, or to work with anyone who is bipartisan and reasonable because of purity politicking. We have driven ourselves into a state where division is the necessary conclusion. But if you're sitting here saying the left is so violent, Trump just the other day announced war on Chicago. Trump just the other day released Secretary of War. NATO, as of right now, is meeting in Poland because of Article 4 of the NATO allegiance, because of the drone strikes that are threatening European borders. Don't kid yourself. Don't kid yourself that it's just the others. Every single person has to look at themselves and go, what am I doing? I have to. I have to look at myself and go, what am I doing? Guess who's saying this is war? It's the right. You are just at fault for this, if not more right now. If this event turns into further violence, the right is now at fault for the further violence. We shouldn't be calling for war. Anyone with an ounce of principles should be denouncing this, but there's 40,000 likes.
Talk to me about the environment in which a shooting like this happens.
Yeah, and again, I emphasize what you just emphasized. We don't know any of the full details of this. That we don't know if this was a supporter shooting their gun off in celebration, or so we have no idea about this. But following up on what was just said, he's been one of the most divisive, especially divisive younger figures in this, who is constantly sort of pushing this sort of hate speech or sort of aimed at certain groups. And I always go back to hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which then lead to hateful actions. And I think that's the environment we're in, that people just, you can't stop with these sort of awful thoughts you have and then saying these awful words and not expect awful actions to take place.
Matt.
And that's the unfortunate environment we're in.
And the worst part is that right now, we don't even know who the suspect is. It's just being blamed on the left. And to be clear, I'm aware it probably is left. It could be a Groyper. The Groypers were known for actively harassing TPUSA. In fact, when I was at TPU events and Groypers approached, security was constantly following them and pressuring them to leave. Anybody on the right knows that TPU and the Groypers did not have a good relationship. They don't like each other. But also the far left has been engaging in a lot of violence as well. Because that's what you guys are begging for. It really is. And the worst part is there isn't going to be space for the conversation about the type of dialogue that is necessary for building hatred, which, yes, most of us have participated in, including Charlie Kirk. That doesn't mean that Charlie Kirk deserves to be killed. But everyone's just going to point to each other and talk about how the other side's more evil. And nobody is going to look at the fact that we are all doing this to each other to different degrees. Some worse than others. Some worse than others. Like I said, I disagree with every single thing Charlie Kirk said. But if there is no space, if this event itself cannot bring about bipartisan work, you've missed the point. You've missed the point. And principles have died. Your principles have died. The right is right now galvanizing its side to attack the left. If you have any scruples or principles, you should push against that. Anybody who is on the left should be denouncing anybody celebrating it. And anybody on the right should be vehemently denouncing the encouragement of radicalization, the promotion of hatred of the left, the promotion and inflaming of civil war. Libs of TikTok. This is war. Sure are trying to incite it. Is this hate speech at this point? Should this be chargeable? Are you inciting violence? Because I think that you are. But I understand that there is no sentiment for what I'm saying. There is no will for moderation. There is no will for bipartisanship. The right has, under Trump, I don't even care about Epstein anymore. Principles have been gone. And the left can't even coordinate its shit enough to have a cohesive identity. We're fractured. It's so frustrating because in many ways we are all complicit in this. And because of that, in many ways, no one is. If social media environment incites this type of engagement that is necessarily inflaming both sides at all times, and even my participation, you could argue that me criticizing the farthest left is inflaming this, is making them more angry because they're not being heard. You could say that me pointing out that Trump is trying to pass unironic anti-democracy policy is inflaming the left and encouraging war. And the issue is, does that mean that there's no way that we can talk about it? And the answer has to be, there is a way. There is a way. There has to be a way that we talk about it. But if violence is a thread or hook attached to the way in which you must talk about it, I would say to you, you're erring. It's the wrong way. Strong men are principled, not violent. Remember, humanity at its most evil typically has engaged in groupthink and tribalism. Humanity at its greatest has engaged in group cohesion and participation. If this type of event doesn't make you concerned about radicalization, if this type of event makes you laugh and shrug or assume that you just have to become more radicalized now, you're doing exactly what the Russian bots want. You're doing exactly what the radicals want. Because for those of you uninformed moderates, which is most of you, radicals are agitative and accelerationist. Both the radical tankies and the groypers, and concerningly, it seems like MAGA, want to accelerate the destruction of democracy. And they do that by sowing disunity. If you allow this to radicalize you, if you don't take this as impetus to cool hatred now, you are doing what every human group in the past that was in endless war failed to do. You are that fool. You've learned nothing from history. You've learned nothing from our principles. You've learned nothing from Jesus. You are failing on every principle we have in the American dream of what we're built on: Roman law, Greek philosophy, and Christian morality. You are failing all three of these things. If you think that war, hatred, tribalism is the way to go forward. Our country, our visions of beauty, our narratives, our stories are about forgiveness. They're about overcoming great evils. They're about finding a way to forgive. Because empathy and forgiveness and principles and believing in peace and fighting for peace, that's hard. It's really easy when nothing bad is going on, and it's really fucking hard when you actually have to do it. Forgiveness isn't forgiveness if it isn't quite difficult, because then there's nothing really to forgive. Grace isn't grace if it's just easy to give. It's probably just enabling. Mercy isn't mercy if you don't even have to deliberate about it, if you don't have to fight your own human impulses to give it. It's like we've forgotten that principles were supposed to be hard, that your cross is daily. I'm seeing so many Christians right now posting about war, about killing the left. Shame on you. Shame on you. And shame on the people who killed Charlie Kirk. Shame on the people celebrating it, but shame on you for doing the exact same thing. You never had principles. You never stood for anything. You just wanted a soapbox bigger than the other guy. You hated the left for cancel culture, for moralizing. You're the same. You're the exact same. If we don't find a way to actually find virtue again, to be noble, to strive for making the right choice, then what are we fighting for? Just to win? That's not what great countries, that's not what the Western democracy, that's not what the American project is built on. Not the visions of it, not the dreams of it. You might say, well, the American project's been full of bad things. Yeah, of course. A great man in my life once said, it's going to take a whole lot of blood, sweat, and shit to fix things, and none of you have the stomach for it. And it's showing. You've all looked at the left, their colorful hair, and their whining about pronouns, and you've scoffed at their privilege. And yet you sit fat, obese on your couch, refusing vaccines which have saved millions of lives, laughing at the idea of polio because you forgot. You forgot all of the human suffering and striving and fighting that brought us here. You forgot what it meant to fight for something, for virtue, to be the hero. You forgot why Captain America mattered. You forgot. And it's showing. You're just as much a snowflake and privileged little kid. Because the moment it's hard for you and you get a big soapbox, you're pointing down at everyone else and you're locking up your enemies and you are inciting violence against those who oppose you and you want to cancel them, you want to defund PBS, you want to go after lawyers who went after you. That's no virtue, that's vengeance. You're the villain in the story. In every childhood story that we know of, the hero goes against the villain, and the villain is bad because he's angry and he wants vengeance and he wants to see the world burn. And that's you. You're not the hero in the story. You're the NPC or you're the antagonist. Until you can look in. Actually look in the mirror, like David Calkins says. Look in the mirror, look at your own fat ass, your stupid face, and go, this is where I'm flawed. I know where I'm flawed. I'm angry. I've been so angry, so incredibly angry, that I have been unfair to the far left at times. I've been quick to unkindness. I've been hesitant to forgive. I understand and I apologize. I know this sounds like I'm just standing on an even bigger soapbox. I apologize. I am not pretending here like I am some saint. I am begging you to, alongside with me, try to dig for the principles and virtues that we all said we cared about, for the pursuit of happiness, for the movies you loved the most that made your skin fill with goosebumps at the idea of dreams and hope and promise. I am begging you to look for that part of you, and to call it up now. Because if we don't, we're in for a world of hurt. And I don't want that world. I'm not perfect. I'm not going to be perfect in the future. I do my best, but we have to be better than this. I have pushed the left so hard, and I vehemently condemn the shooting against Charlie Kirk. But watching the right reaction of inciting war, of suggesting locking up the left, you're the villain you always feared the left would become. You've become it. You've stared into the abyss so long that you've been subsumed by it. This isn't the way. A lot of you who watch my channel are conservative. You find me as like the one sane liberal. I'm imploring you now. Your disgust towards the left for the purity and the moralizing and just the downright can't hang uncool kind of stick up our ass energy. I've always said that's kind of fair. Now it's your time to prove your principles. And if you don't, you were the same as the side you hated. Just have different colors. Red instead of blue. But it doesn't matter. Same monster. Peace be with you. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. To the family of Kirk, to my friend who was right there talking to him when this happened, I'm sorry. To his children, I'm sorry.